Assalamu alaikum, you're watching our special program, the Friday special, and we'll be talking about the challenges which the incoming government of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf will be facing as far as economy is concerned. Obviously, when we talk about the law and order issue, or we talk about the external or internal threat, for that matter, we do talk about the foreign policy of Pakistan, the energy crisis of Pakistan, the environment and the weather issues, the water issues. You talk about so many other problems related to Pakistan. But obviously, we have a lot of issues regarding the social sector, whether you talk about the health or the education. But there are certain, I would say, areas which I consider as the engine of growth in any economy, in any country. One of them is definitely the real estate business. Everybody in Pakistan needs a house. Now, this is because maybe it is a part of the culture, everybody wants to own a house there. Look at the current population of Pakistan, look at the population growth rate. Two very important factors. That is one of the reasons that 64% of the total population of Pakistan is under the age of 30. And if you look at the bracket under the age of 40, that is around 80%. So you can well imagine that is the market you need to capitalize on, you need to focus, and you need to make sure that they should be taken care of after maybe 20 years, 25 years or so. But currently, obviously, there's a graph which tells us that the population growth is like this. So obviously, this area is very important. A lot of money can be generated, a lot of investment can be brought in. We have recently seen during the last 15, 20 years that a couple of huge mega projects, not only in Islamabad, Pindi or Lahore or Karachi for that matter, but all over Pakistan. And they have set a new trend where you can tell that the need of the people is taken care of, but obviously there are so many other factors attached to it. Secondly, you talk about the stock market. The stock market of Pakistan, I remember when I started following it, it was under 1,000 points. And I'm talking about 2000, 2001. But now when you look at 2018, it almost touched 53, 54,000 points, then got corrected, and got corrected in a huge manner. We'll talk about the reasons for that also. It has gone down, now hovering around late 30s. It is recovering post-election. If you look at today, still around 600 points plus. Yesterday it went up to almost gained around 800 to 1,000 points. That was the bracket. Then the third most important area is about the recommendation of the trading bodies or the bodies such as the Lahore Chamber or the Karachi Chamber or Islamabad Chamber or Rawalpindi Chamber or Faisalabad, Gujranwala for that matter, Sialkot. There are bodies which give recommendations to the government so that two areas could be taken care of. About the cost of doing business is a very important area. And secondly, as Imran Khan Sahab also, other than the cost of doing business, he said ease of doing business. That is also very important. We used to hear about that one window operation, investments, and then trade and exports and all. But a lot needs to be done. Now, what are the key areas where we need to look into, and how to sort of make sure that those hurdles, those hindrances, those issues, those problems could be removed, and better governance should be in place. Let me introduce you to our panelists of today's program. We have with us in our studio on my right is Zahid Latif Khan Sahab. Khan Sahab is a known name in the stock market business, as also the President of the Rawalpindi Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Sir, thank you very much for taking out the time and Zahid being here. We also have with us in our studio Sheikh Amir Waheed Sahab, again needs no introduction, is the President of Islamabad Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Waheed Sahab, thank you very much, sir. And we have with us Ahsan Malik Sahab. Malik Sahab is related to real estate business. Thank you very much, Malik Sahab, for being here. First of all, sir, let's start off from you. Couple of promises made by Imran Khan Sahab also regarding good governance, regarding more trade with India, with the neighboring countries, regional trade basically, better relationship with the neighboring countries also. And then he also emphasized that what we need to do is that we need to make sure that there should be transparency in everything, right man for the right job. Primarily, let's work together to strengthen your institutions. At the end of the day, these are the pillars. These are the, I think, real factors which basically determines the strength of any economy. Now, first of all, let's start off from the stock market business. It got corrected. Was that a correction, or was that a much awaited and a due correction, because it lost around, if you look at the numbers, over 15,000 points, that's around 22-23% of the total market, sir?
Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to studio today. Actually, it all started last year on 25th of May, 2017, when the previous budget by Mr. Ishaq Dar was presented to Pakistan. In that budget, it was so unfriendly with the business. It was so unfriendly towards the attraction of the foreign investment and towards the FDIs and all that. And all the recommendations from the capital market were just ignored like anything. So despite the fact that Pakistan was upgraded by the Morgan Stanley Composite Index actually last year from the frontier market to the emerging market, which happened last year in June, despite this fact, the market kept on falling after the budget of 25th
Even despite the good news?
Even despite the very good news, because after 10 years, after Pakistan was downgraded back in 2008 actually. And after that, in 2016, it was considered to be reclassified, and in 2017, it was, it was upgraded from the frontier market to the emerging market. But because of the very bad budget, the market started falling, and then there was, of course, a political uncertainty and the judicial activism and all that. There was, and then this year there was a expectation of general elections, and again there was some confusion and all that. And the most important point was, for the last 3-4 years, there was no adjustment in the Pak rupees dollars parity. Because of that, the dollars stood on one rate.
So primarily it wasn't because of the injection of money, or was it because of the interference of the State Bank, or was it because of the stable economy? Was it artificially controlled, sir?
It was artificially controlled.
So no market forces were involved as such.
This year, even the previous government's finance minister sort of made a confession that it should have not been done by the previous foreign minister for the last 3 years. Only because of that policy, our exports went down from 24 billion US dollars to it came to 20 billion US dollars actually. So this was the reason, and then the fiscal deficit and the trade imbalance, it created panic in the stock market, right? Now, if you have just mentioned about yesterday's stock market performance and today's stock market performance is again, it is in plus. It is because of the reason that there is a hope. Actually, how stock market works is not only today's market's fundamentals and the earning and growth of the companies, but also the future perception. So now the people are optimistic that the new phase has come with a lot of energy and lot of commitments and pledges. So people are looking towards this thing that he might be able to bring back.
So basically the investors in the capital market, they have shown a lot of confidence in Imran Khan. That is primarily the reason that market has grown by 4% in 2 days.
In 2 days,
technically, that's a very good sign.
There were two reasons actually. One was that it was abruptly, it had fallen down. It needed a correction to go up. Plus, it is optimism also. And let's see in the coming days what happens.
All right. Moving on to you, sir. Since you're also heading a trade body, the Islamabad Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Though Islamabad is not an industrial state or an area as such, but still, when we go to certain areas, we see industry growing. But there is a lot of business, and obviously over a period of time it's increasing. Sheikh Sahab, primarily the duty and the assignment of any trading body is to give recommendation, is to facilitate its own members and make sure that business grows, trade grows, and come up with innovative ideas and all. In this particular environment, I'm sure, sir, you people, when you sit down, you have innovative ideas and all, but when it comes to the recommendations and when it comes to the implementation of those, what sort of hindrances, problems and issues do you face, sir? Red tapeism is one.
We are facing a lot of hurdles regarding, you can say, your bureaucracy is main hurdle in making laws. When you will go to them, they are not giving much type of things that you need. We give them recommendation, but those recommendations could not go up, and we are not getting anything from them. So we need a good bureaucracy in future, that they will give us more and good system in this, I think Imran is saying that he will change bureaucracy, he will change judiciary system, and he will change everything. So he's saying last day his speech was very good. In terms of business community, it was good.
But sir, at the same time, Imran Khan is going to face a lot of strong opposition. Both, if he makes the government in Punjab, he's going to be facing the opposition from PMLN and even in the centre.
Yes, definitely will face a very big opposition, but he has some goals in his life. In his previous life, he did so many, achieved so many goals, like he won World Cup and he made Shaukat Khanam Hospital, and people, a lot of followers are with him.
Because
and they are thinking that he will do
he goes for it. Yeah.
Yes.
But Sheikh, one more point. I mean, another very important area to debate on is about the privatization process.
I think yes, it's must. We should sell each and every department, like railway, we should sell railway, we should sell PIA.
You believe in privatization?
Yes,
that's the only way forward, sir?
Because we are facing that we are giving them 800 billion.
Circular debt is unbelievable.
And we're giving them 800 billion a year.
But sir, by good governance, implementing the right policy, having the right man on top,
yes,
a clean man.
Clean man, and system
will that
should
deliver,
be very,
because Imran Khan believes that the top to bottom trickle down effect.
A system should be very filtered. Everything should go through the smooth system, then systems can work in future. It will be done very good.
If I may ask you that the recommendations given by the former finance minister Dar Saab, I mean, he was an accountant, he exactly knew about the number game, but the kind of policies he developed at that time, we are facing the music now.
Yeah.
And we will keep on facing it for the next coming years also. Even the next government is going to suffer. Do you think that was something in which we could have done better?
He could done better, but he couldn't do better because we gave them that one paper of you can say your income tax return should be for one paper, very easy in Urdu, or because people don't know what they are.
That's pretty complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
I'll come back on the taxation area, because that is one area which needs to improve, and on ASAP basis. Because that's how you can, if you have more money in your kitty, you have more money to spend.
Because
simple rule.
Our circular debt plus our you can say import bill is very high. Our exports are very low.
Sir, import bill is going to go further up. Because of the oil prices. They were hovering around 35, 36, yes. 37 when the previous government was in power. Now it's around $80 a barrel.
We are foreseeing that 60 billion in this year will be the import bill, and like 23 to 24 billion for our exports.
So you can well imagine the difference.
There's a very big difference, and government will face this thing. How they will overcome this thing.
You need to increase your remittances, and remittances will increase only if you allow to have a policy which is favorable for them, and that can attract. Obviously, when we talk about the foreign investors of the FDI earlier, Khan Sahab was telling us about, I think we are giving a very good offer to the international market. Almost, we really want, they can have 100% equity, sovereign guarantees, they are there for those investors. The rate of return is around 35–40% in certain cases. Exactly. But still, we are not able to fetch that kind of an investment. Obviously, if I am an American investor, I would think on the region, that, India is offering me this, Bangladesh, and then, long-term stability. One of the major reasons, I think, is about the instability as far as the political process is concerned. Because that's when the investor shies away.
But this is the media perception. When people come to Pakistan, he sees by his own that reality is different and media perception is different. But in other terms, you can say that foreign direct investment is not coming. There are so many factors, like you should give them one window operations. When he wants to start.
So we have been, Sheikh Sahab, hearing about this one window operation for the last maybe 20
government
years.
Should do something like this. They should give them incentives. So you see that CPEC is coming to Pakistan. So many Chinese companies are visiting Pakistan daily, but I think they have not just started single business.
If you talk to any investor who is from the Chinese origin, they're facing two major problems. One is about, as you earlier mentioned, about the red tape issue, the bureaucratic problems and all. They say that in China, maximum what it takes for one file to go, whether it's approved or it's rejected, and to come back, it would take 7 days, 1 week. In Pakistan, it takes about 4 to 6 months. That's the crime, I would say. And second, he said that your labor is not at all geared up. Forget about competing with the Chinese labor. The attitude I'm talking about, they're not in a mood to work. They have an attitude not to work, you know. And that productivity, I mean, obviously if somebody is investing and he wants a person to be productive, obviously human resource matters. One has to deliver to a certain level.
Yes,
and that's where we are lacking. And technical expertise, they're zero. So human resource development, I think, is going to be the key in the future also. Now coming to you, sir, as they say that with real estate, at least 6 dozen different industries are related. So if real estate is growing, construction industry is growing, imagine there's so many other factors also. For example, steel, you talk about any construction material, so and so forth. Even architecture, that's one of the side business. You talk about designing, you talk about purchasing, there's a huge, this is a huge industry. And this demand is never going to end. This is going to grow as the time will pass. Now, sir, when you talk about real estate, we all think, this is the, industry, or this is the kind of business in which most people are very rich. And a normal person can't do that. And, and they make a lot of money, just a general perception. Because, Malik comes in your mind straight away. That's the first perception. But the amount of tax they pay is nothing as compared to what they should have. But earlier when I was having a word with you in the office, you were telling that they're already paying a lot of tax. So would you like to clarify what exactly is going on, sir? What sort of taxes are imposed on plots and houses? What sort of problems are you going through? What sort of recommendations do you have in your mind?
Thank you very much, first of all. And the main thing is, I will take a start from June 2016.
Correct.
The previous government, might be they don't have bad intention, but they really messed up in the budget. They enhanced the taxes, real estate taxes, plus FBR values and DC values to real estate to dump the business. I don't know what was the reason, but they were trying to manipulate to maximum fetch the money from real estate sector. For that matter, they don't take real stakeholders on board, and they have enhanced the taxes like nothing, and they have enhanced the FBR value and DC values. June 2016 and till today, might be there is any property who get increase his value just because of these policies.
Malik sahab, who determines, I'm a total failure when it comes to this understanding that who determines the real estate prices in Pakistan. Because for example, Zahid sahab, if he has purchased a plot, let's suppose 4 months ago, a 500-yard plot in F7, and he will say that, I bought it for, let's suppose, 6 crore rupees. And after 4 months, he tells me that there is another plot right next to mine, and the seller maybe is going to Canada and he wants to sell that, and it's available for 8. So within a span of 4 months, and I've seen crazy kind of jumps in real estate prices, who determines that? Forget about Bahariya town, forget about other agents. I'm talking about, let's suppose, CDA for that matter, or these military or askari colonies, or for that matter, so DHA, Defense Housing Authority.
Yes.
Who does it?
It's a real estate sector who determine the value. But again, it comes that this was happened before June 2016, because people don't have any other option, business option. Everybody don't have the temperament to play in the stock market.
So when you talk about savings or investment, 2 areas. Savings, you have this these bonds, where you can invest. If you are over 60 or 65 years old, you'll get a better percentage. If you're not, you'll get a lesser percentage. Then you have stock market was always considered something, where you'll lose your money. It's like gambling for most people. But if you study, if you read it well, you understand the dynamics, you understand the fundamentals. Even if you do punting, you can still make money in a decent way. It's an art, basically, and it's an understanding with the market of an individual. Second, but having said that, now when you talk about the real estate business for that matter, sir, again, the question arises that, for example, if somebody has bought a plot for this price and then he's included those shamilat, as they call it, and then they multiply the price. So if actually, you know, when you talk about the final consumer, I mean, it's beyond his or her reach in most of the cases. So how do you plan? And then there is this concept of subsidy in case if you're a government employee. I still do not understand what exactly, who exactly, which department? Obviously, Texas is one area, but what else, I mean, really?
The real estate value is mainly determined by, before June 2016, will be decided by the DC values, Deputy Commissioner. On their value.
And they'll be in place for 1 year?
Yes.
Then what about the concept of demand and supply?
I think market forces determine these type of things. When you buy in, you say that 40 million, next was the 88 million, 80 million. So it depends on the market forces. If it depends on demand and supply. When the demand is high, price will be the high. If the demand will less, then price will be definitely less.
This is a very simple rule. Actually, I believe that he was referring to the price determination for the tax purposes.
Yeah.
That is done by the Deputy Commissioner, or in 2016, during that budget, it was proposed that FBR will also determine the price of the plot. But the market price is always determined by the market forces, right? If I'm keen to buy this plot, so I have created a demand. And if you are desperate to sell the plot,
I've created a demand too.
You have created a desire to sell it. So in that way, it is a matching, and the prices comes into this. The other very important point is, you were mentioning, what happened in Gwadar. In Gwadar, when there was a talk about the CPEC, there was a lot of barren land available. And,
oh yes,
and there was
2004-05.
Yes.
Yeah, until recently actually. But what happened in 2-3 years back, actually in 2015, when the Chinese Prime Minister came here and he had a signed agreement, and the proper, concept of CPEC was given to Pakistan. So after that, the investors entered into Gwadar real estate, and they raised the price so high that there was no room for having industry over there. So that's why for the last 1 year, the transfer of property over there has been stopped and restricted actually. So they are just waiting for the master plan to come, and then they will allow it. And in the meanwhile, you have seen the prices have crashed to 50%. So actually, the backbone of the economy is the construction and the development business. Agreed? You got my point? If you do the construction, if you do the development, infrastructure development, only then the ancillary industries work together. For example, glass and bricks and cement and steel and all that things. Now coming back to the stock market. Stock market, the perception, unfortunately, there are the lowest percentage of stock market investors in Pakistan as compared to the other countries, even to the comparing countries with Pakistan for Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So we have the lowest percentage in the world. And it's only because of the bad perception of stock market. The kind of return...
Your market has been performing so well during so many years. Actually, I think one of the best markets in so many times.
In 2016, the Pakistan stock market was declared the best performing stock market in Asia and the 5th best performing stock market in the world. And this is not done by Pakistani organizations, it was international rating agencies. So the kind of return on the Pakistani capital market and the rate of return on the equity is so huge. But the only problem is there is every 6 months to 1 year there's some bad news coming in, and it shatters the confidence of the general public.
Zahid, one more point. I mean, it's raise of 1% as far as the interest rate is concerned by the State Bank of Pakistan when they recently announced the monetary policy. What sort of an impact do you think it is going to have?
It is detrimental.
Less borrowing, obviously.
It's detrimental to the economy because
this is not a growth-oriented.
This is not a growth-oriented thing, because what happens? All the industry which is relying on loan and borrowing, their cost of doing
And it's
business
not
would go up.
0.25%, it's 1%.
It is 1%, you see. And actually, altogether in 3 months, it has been raised to 1.5% actually. 1% by this finance minister, the caretaker finance minister, and 0.5% was done by
In the previous
government. So it has raised the cost of doing business, and it is no good for the economy. But they are trying to, probably they are trying to curtail the inflation impact on that. That's why they are trying to, you know, tighten the policies. But now the challenges for this new government are humongous, because there's a lot of gap of the, trade deficit, and it has reached to around 17-18 billion US dollars. So they'll have to go back to IMF 1. Now
Looking for around 10 to 12 billion US dollars.
the point is, now the one positive point is this, that since Imran Khan has come to the power for the first time, so people trust him because he has done a lot of good works, you know, in his personal capacity earlier. So maybe on his call, people start remitting money from overseas Pakistanis.
Let's
maybe, yeah, we can hope and we can pray
People
for
can
the betterment
trust
of
him with their
Pakistan.
money.
Yeah, it can
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
you know, it can happen. And maybe the FDI starts flowing in from the West, because earlier the West was not very happy, but probably the Middle Eastern countries and Saudi Arabia used to help Pakistan.
And you know, if he is able to bring at least 5 to 7% of the money stored in the foreign banks,
if
that
he
is going
could
to be
do it, this is going to be a good thing. And the other thing is, if he could provide a comfort level to the Chinese government regarding
he mentioned
CPEC.
about that also.
Regarding
Yeah.
CPEC. This is very important, because, you know, people were thinking that the CPEC has gone a little slow. But if CPEC starts picking up again, the construction and the development work, all that, then it will bring vibration and vibrancy to
I think your economy, I mean, at the end of the day,
economy.
it seems that. Now, sir, as far as Imran Khan is concerned, obviously people believe that he's got a very good team. And when we say good team, means Asad Omar Saab, who's a brilliant man. He understands finance, he understands the dynamics, how things operate, especially the industry and all. And I'm sure he will give a lot of time to the industrials, to the businessmen. Sir, first of all, sir, what do you think, I mean, the general perception of the trader, the general perception of anybody doing a business? Because normally what we have witnessed earlier, that whenever Nawaz Sharif Saab came into power, because he had business-friendly policies and a lot of support was also by the business community and traders and all. But Imran Khan is the man, I mean, who's new, very new rather, for the first time. That equation of trust, is it there by the traders? Sir? What is the general perception?
Equation is there, trust is there, because everybody gave him a chance that he will do his best, because people gave chance to Nawaz Sharif, Zardari, and so many people gave chance. Now they have given chance to Imran Khan. I think people are very much trusting him that he will do best thing for Pakistan. Even from his call, people give him a loan. People will give him so many things. So one thing Imran is saying, he will collect 800 billion from this system, from this existing system.
Yeah.
So I think if he's saying he will do.
Tax reforms?
He will make tax reforms. He will make tax reforms very easy. And think if he'll do these type of things, he can collect so many tax, because most of people are not trusting previous governments, because that our money will not be in safe hands. So I think people will trust him a lot. If he'll do something, people will make trust with him.
So coming to you regarding the stock market, sir, the idea is to provide cheap, decent accommodation to the masses. Any project, any idea which you have in your mind, sir?
Sir, first of all, I will tell you that at present, we are shortage of 1 crore and 20 lakh houses presently in Pakistan.
Almost 12 million.
It's a huge sector which need attention from the PTI government. What I suggest as a real estate consultant, that PTI government should focus. It might be many issues like electricity, water, health, education. These are all the sectors where the government has to put in the money, inject the money. And the real estate sector, they can generate the money with wisely steps. Like they have presently, like FBR, they are totally focusing on the amnesty scheme. But what they
almost
did...
get a message every day.
Sorry?
I almost get a message every day on the phone.
But you just see what they did in last budget, the filer status and non-filer status, overseas Pakistanis, they fall in the category of non-filers. Like anybody lives in UK, USA, States, Europe, he's a non-filer. I already submitted an application to Chairman
That's
FBR.
a very genuine concern, yes.
Chairman FBR. It's a simple process that they have to create on e-portal, FBR website, that they have to put some information and they will be a filer. They will give us status of filer, which was given the statement by the previous FBR chairman, Tariq Mahmood Pasha Sahab. But it's still pending, and we are pursuing it, but they are not doing it. My request to PTI government, they must focus on this sector. They can generate excellent revenue, but if they sit with the real stakeholders in the real estate sector, and we can tell them how they can run this show to generate the revenue.
Basically, how much money do you think, for example, let's suppose the overall real estate, because the unfortunate part is that 60% of our, more than 60%, few people says more than 100%, official figures are 60, is actually the grey area of economy, where people are not documented, nobody knows how things are taking place. Actually, when you talk about that Pakistan, let's suppose, is a country, our GDP is approximately 320 US billion dollars. But when you add the grey area, I mean, it exceeds 600 billion, and maybe in another 3-4 years it could touch 1 trillion. So that's not a joke, that's a huge, and look at the population and everything, look at the potential. I mean, you want to buy a car, you can't get a car without giving them 2-3 lakh rupees on. Yeah. So that means that people have a lot of purchasing power. But the point is that, you know, when we talk about real estate, is there any possibility that banks should also, you know, give loans to people like private housing colonies or sectors they are doing so? You know, that can be taken care of. And do you think that can also generate a lot of money and can actually be a real engine of growth for the economy?
Exactly, you're right. It can be done, but it depends how they can handle this area. Like
public-private partnership, I think that should be the way forward.
Exactly. It should be like this.
Do you think, I mean, if the private sector gets involved, the public sector gets involved, and there's a right policy with the right mechanism, policies. And you know, because the government is only happy when they get more money.
More money.
As far as the tax is concerned. Rest, if you can manage things, I think that's a great idea. Now, sir, last quick comment. I mean, when we talk about the economic challenges, obviously imports need to be reduced, but they always tell us that these are the imports which will generate exports in the longer run. And it's been 20 years, sir. I haven't seen anything.
For example, mobile phones. There's a $1 billion of worth of mobile phones.
Every year?
Every year. So what's the use in it, you know? Then the luxury cars we import. You know, we are in a crisis-like situation. We need to curb this unnecessary import, one thing. And the very important thing, let me deliberate on this thing is, now is a time that we should give confidence to the people of Pakistan. Now is the time that we should give the confidence to the international investors.
Their confidence is shattered, unfortunately.
It is,
sir.
it is. You know,
look at the dollar price, sir, 128 plus. Is that a joke? Within a span of 6 months, it has, I think it has appreciated, how much? 22% it has gone up.
Yeah. So another very important point is regarding the amnesty scheme. First of all, the Chambers of Commerce...
Do you approve of that, by the way, sir?
Yes, this is a good question. First of all, we actually opposed it. The Rawalpindi Chamber of Commerce Industry arranged a All Pakistan Chambers President Conference in March in Govt. Okay. And Mr. Amir, Waheed, my friend, was also with us. And 42 presidents from all over Pakistan, Chambers President, they went with us. So our, the declaration of that conference was that we should not be introducing any more amnesty scheme because it had come earlier as well. So a businessman like me or like him pays tax to the tune of 32, 33%, 35% sometimes because of the super tax and all that every year. And after 5 years, someone comes in, give 5% and gets all his 5 years tax-free income into the white money.
And anybody can convert the black money into white money.
White money. But we agreed with the government of Pakistan only on one condition, that it should be for the full and final and the last time, right? So what happened, first month was not taken seriously by the public because of the intervention of the Supreme Court, but subsequently Supreme Court also agreed with it to some extent. Then there was election campaign, then they extended for 1 month. Now there is a new situation, new government is going to be in place pretty soon, inshallah. So people are people are happy with Imran Khan because he has been given chance for the first time. His perception is very, very honest. And the second, all those the people who are negative or fond of getting bribes and hiding assets and all that, they are also afraid of him. And let me tell you very
Yeah, everybody is.
So
He
now
means
he
business.
should come on the national media and he should say that okay, I'm going to give one more chance to all of you, 1 more month. Either come out with your real assets, declare it, or
the government is going to take them away.
or we are going to give you a hard time. So that can bring in a good amount of money, I'm telling you.
I think his trade policy, the first trade policy, their first budget, and so on and so forth. I mean, that is going to be really important. And let's see how they implement the previous budget, which was announced a few months, maybe a few months ago. And on top, how to collect taxes primarily. This is their concern. Now, because I was just told, sir, we are a little short on time, so I'll just move on to our next case. What's your recommendation, sir? This was about the amnesty scheme.
He has given us 100 days, first 100 days. I think we should wait and see what he will do, and then we will give him suggestions and good suggestions for next budget, because they have to run the government for next 100 days or 200 days. Then when they will do something for the country.
Sir, in your chamber, do you have, like, for example, there are so many businesses starting from retail.
Yes.
To when you get into services, I mean, there's a huge sector. You talk about manufacturing, that's huge. You talk about agriculture and otherwise, that's huge. And there's so many businesses attached to them. So when you sort of make a plan, a business plan or something of that sort, obviously you do understand this much of tax and whatever you have in black and white. You think, sir, even in this particular condition where you have look at the debt, look at the economic indicators, I mean, I fail to see even a good one. That can still be managed in these crises, sir?
I think he will manage. I think
you just need a good economic policy.
He's capable to do the things like Asad Umar is with him and so many other potential.
So you have faith in this team and in this party?
I think we should give him a chance, and when we will give him a chance, then he will do something. If not, then people.
Obviously, look at the way people are. Like, they voted for PMLQ,
yes,
ousted. PPP, ousted. PMLN, ousted. Now Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, if they'll deliver, they'll be selected again the way
do something. People will not like him.
Select them again in KPK. But sir, I think the next 10 years, they are very important for Pakistan, and we really need to give 100%. Sir, closing remarks from you, Malik Saab, your recommendations for your sector.
In real estate sector, immediately finance minister should meet with real estate sector people, and immediately he should clarify the status of overseas Pakistanis in the form of FBR, that they are filer or non-filer. They should announce a status
this
of
one
filer.
Area. And what else?
What else? Like they should make friendly policies for easy going things to understand the people, and
people should not be afraid of this office which is called CBR.
FBR.
They are afraid. FBR.
Yeah.
They are afraid. Definitely they are afraid. And these are the policies. The people are not putting in the money in the banks. They are converting into dollars and foreign currencies and gold. That's why dollar is, inflation rate is also a...
Gold is always considered a safe haven, sir, for investors. It doesn't bother much. When it comes to dollar, a lot of people have bought dollars and they have gone up. So that's one of the
because
reasons.
all money was
Sir,
shown...
you know that in simple ways, sir, every transaction should be made transparent.
Exactly.
People should know if you're making money, good enough. That's your, hard work and all, which is a reward for you. But at the same time, if somebody is not paying, should be taken to task, sir.
Yes. Exactly.
I think we need to change our attitude also. But anyway, sir, thank you very much, Malik Saab. Sheikh Saab, was a pleasure. Khan Saab, was good to see you once again, sir. Anyway, that's all we have for this hour. I'll see you on Monday. Till then, you take good care. Khuda Hafiz from our side.